Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Thursday, February 8th, 2018, and here are some of today's trends in the news. On the market front over there in Asia, Nikkei, Hang Seng up a little bit, Shanghai down. Over there in Europe, everything down. Here in the States, Dow down over 1,000 points, some 4% down. NASDAQ down nearly 4%. Oil down. Gold flat. Bitcoin up a little bit. So what's going on? Dow plummets. Down 10% from record. Well, that's our forecast. Going back to June. Going back to your last two trends journals, a 10% correction. It's in black and white. It had to happen. The markets are overvalued and they're over-leveraged. We believe this is the peak of the Trump rally. At the very best, it'll go up a little more. At the very worst, it'll go out of correction territory that it's in now and into a bear market. How will that affect the economy? Mostly psychologically, because most people in the real world don't have a lot of dough in the equity markets. As of December, 90% of all the stocks owned were owned by 10% of the population in the United States, and that's the biggest market in the world. The other 10% owned by the rest of the nation, they only had about 15,000 bucks in the market, as opposed to about 360,000 for the top 10%. So it'll have a psychological effect, but not a broad economic effect, because when you look at the numbers, weekly job claims at a 45-year low. Of course, we still know that the labor force participation rate isn't so great. And as the numbers keep coming in on corporate earnings, they're better than expected. So we don't have a down economy. We have a down market, two very different things. So they're concerned about interest rates. You look at gold, gold's flat. It's around 1,300 level now. It's been moving down. I kept saying it had to break over 1,400. It hasn't. And why? Because they're concerned that interest rates will go up. When interest rates go up, the dollar gets stronger, gold gets weaker. Oh, and watch out for those emerging markets out there that borrowed all that money in cheap dollars, and they got to pay it back now as their currencies go down, the dollar goes up, they got to pay it back with more money. Those are the markets to watch. And again, when gold shines, this market's going to turn red, and we haven't seen that yet. And oil. Now, oil went down for the major reason in the United States, we're now pumping more oil than Saudi Arabia, the largest producer out of OPEC. That's big news. So here's some of the news coverage regarding the markets going down. Financial Times. Europe and Asia bear brunts as stocks reel from volatility's return. And here's what they say. The losses were triggered by investors' concerns that an era of cheap money was drawing to a close in the face of renewed inflationary pressures. All right? Same story, cheap money. Front page. New York Times. World is bracing an era of easy money ending. All right? Financial Times. The global economy looks solid, but there are worrying signs. The Country's equity markets' response to the prospects of higher borrowing costs. Go back to your trend alert. Trend alert. It's right there. It's interest rates, stupid. Taking off, of course, it's the economy, stupid, the slang that they used during Bill Clinton's first run for the White House in 1992. It's all about cheap money and interest rates. So with Powell being the new Fed chair appointed by Trump, you think they're going to jack up interest rates really high? We don't believe so. So a correction, again, was long overdue. And again, when you look at the over-leveraged markets, all these ETFs playing the low volatility game, and that's what's starting to unravel it, and it was the biggest downturn, was volatility in these markets was at the lowest level since 1959. And gamblers were betting that volatility would stay low. And when the volatility index rose, these ETFs got wiped out. So you got a lot of speculation that's driving this out. But again, the fundamentals are strong. But we say they won't raise rates, but the Wall Street Journal says they will. Don't count on Fed's safety net for stocks. The recent sharp drop in stocks began because investors were worried the Fed might raise rates faster than they thought. With the economy strong and the markets still expensive, investors shouldn't expect a Fed rescue if shares tumble. That's what they say. We disagree. Because, take a global view, Indian central bank holds main rates steady, unchanged. It waits for indications of whether inflation and the fiscal deficit will rise this year. Of course, over there in the UK, they're saying they may raise rates. But again, the fundamentals are strong. EU raises 2008 growth forecast for Eurozone. Beyond the Eurozone, what's the second largest economy in the world? China. China's exports rose 11.1% in January, while imports increased 37%. Remember your top trends. 2017, buy and sell China. Get in there. They're buying up stuff, you could sell it to them. Number 2, follow the yellow Silk Road. The business of China is business. The business of America is war. China. Alibaba Fashion's three-pronged India strategy. Chinese Commerce Group builds shopping, payments, and delivery portfolio for drive to challenge U.S. rival Amazon. Hey, what's another one of your top trends in 2017? Silicon Valley, Rust Belt 2.0. Again, what will happen when they raise interest rates? Boom! This thing goes down, man. Manhattan real estate sales stumble. This is Manhattan. The number of contracts signed from October through January, this is before the downturn in the markets. The markets were booming back then, were down 6% from the same 4-month period a year earlier. For all of 2017, sales were nearly flat compared with 2016. Together, the years ranked 2016, 2017 as the 2 worst sales volume years since 2011. You're going to raise rates? Great. Hey, Maybe they will. We say they won't. And what else do we have here? On to some international news. Turkish border towns bear cost of offensive against Syria. Talks about this place being bombed. The woman and her husband immediately bundled up their 5 daughters, rushed into their car, and drove 30 miles to get away. Hey, I wonder why there's a refugee crisis. Can't figure it out. Because here you go. U.S. warplanes bomb pro-government forces in eastern Syria. U.S. coalition forces have issued a statement confirming a series of U.S. airstrikes against Syrian pro-government forces. This is the United States in a foreign country bombing that nation's military. The statement insisted that the attacks were self-defense. Hey, State Department, clowns with your mouth. It would be self-defense. Gcelente, if they attacked the United States, you're in a foreign country. If somebody comes into my house and tries to attack me and I attack them, that's self-defense. You got it backwards. Why? Because you're a sick bunch of SOBs. In northern Syria, U.S. and Turkey head into face-off. And what they do is they bring these embedded journalists from the toilet paper or record to do their propaganda. During the Vietnam War, the military had no control over the press. George Bush Sr. started this stuff. Clinton kept it going. And Bush and Obama sealed it. The press is under the thumb of the military. Quote, "We're very proud of our position here, and we want to make sure everybody knows it," says General Jamie Jared, the Special Operations Commander. What are you doing over there? You want to make sure everybody knows it? I know that you're invading a foreign nation and have no business being there. But they build it up to salute the troops. Ya salute. Peace brings prosperity, not war. And on to some other geopolitical issues. Again, more propaganda from the toilet paper record. U.S. seesawing on Libya paves path for Russia. Last March, the Pentagon's top general for Africa made a rare trip to Capitol Hill, bearing a sobering double-barreled warning. Look at this language. Double-barreled warning. How's that for military garbage crap talk? From Eric Schmidt, of course. Yeah, take out the C and take out the M, man, because that's who you are. Quote, "The instability in Libya and North Africa may be the most significant near-term threat to the United States and its allies' interests on the continent," said General Thomas D. Wildhauser. This is a war started by Obama, that little slime ball Cameron over there in the UK, and that little nothing of a clown Sarkozy in the UK, brought to you by Samantha Power, Susan Rice, and Hillary Clinton. And now what the stupid paper is doing is they're blaming Trump for not having an aggressive enough policy statement and actions to quell the problems over there and to stop those Russians. That's how stupid it all is, because that's where America is going. It's going down. Yep. Hey, remember what Trump said in his State of the Union address? The world has seen what we always knew, that no people on earth are so fearless or daring or determined as Americans. If there is a mountain, we climb it. If there is a frontier, we cross it. If there is a challenge, we tame it. Yep. And if there's a war, they'll start it. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.